We're on video?
No.
Good morning, everyone. How are you? You're all excited now and smiley and everything. Okay. Zok the Gemara, Dalid, Sadi Dalid and Mabez. So we're talking about this pasuk. We're going to continue the story of Sanhedrin. What does it mean when it says Aniyah Anasos, top of Tzadi Hamad Aleph? Asid Yirmiyah ben Chilkiah misnabe Allah me Anasos. So Yirmiyah is going to come and he's going to give a nevuah from Anasos. T'chsiv divrei Yirmiyah ben Chilkiah min hakohanim asher b'Anasos pe'eretz binyamin. He's going to give a nevuah about Nebuchadnezzar coming and capturing Yerushalayim. And that was the nevuah that we talked about yesterday. We spoke about that by Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, you have the Zechusim. So Sanhedrin is not going to capture Yerushalayim, but when the Ari comes, when Nebuchadnezzar comes, so he will be able to capture it. Hasa midami. Hasam Ari hachalayish. Why is Nebuchadnezzar called an Ari once and a Layish another time? Shisha Shemesh Yesh Lari Elohein. Ari, Kfir, Lavi, Layish, Shachal, Shachatz. Ihachi Batzulahu. If you do the count, so it ends up, going back now, that's a separate discussion. Now, going back, we said that Sali Kolech Bas Galin, you should listen to the Kol. We talked about Yeshayahu saying that you should listen to the Kol, that at the end of the day, Lamaisa, you're going to be okay now, but you won't be okay later. So, says the Gemara, Yihachi Batzulu, if you take out Sali, like we said, if you take out Sali Kolech Bas Galim as not being one of the places, you have less than 10 places. We said that he went 10 places in one day. So you have less than 10 places, just a logistic. The Gemara says, Avru Mavar Tarte Ninu, that's 2 places. Fine. Says the Gemara, My Od Hayom Benov Lavod. What does it mean when talking about Sanhedrin that the day still stands still from Nov? What does that mean? Listen to this. Fascinating Gemara. Amrile Kaldai, his astrologers of Sanhedrin said to him, they knew through astrology, and this is the way that HaKadosh Baruch Hu made it, that there was one day left. The Jewish people, it's interesting. Somebody asked me after one of the minyanim today. He said, what do you mean there's no statute of limitations when it comes to punishments? We know that people get reward for their great-great-great-grandparents, and people can get punished for their great-great-great-grandparents. So it's interesting. Over here it's saying that this was the last day that the Jewish people could be punished for the sin of the Kohanei Nov, for killing the Kohanim of Nov. And basically, the astrologers understood as well that had Sanhedrin attacked Yerushalayim that very day, he would have been successful. But if he waited till the next day, he would no longer be successful. That's what the Gemara says. So it sounds like Kadosh Baruch Hu made it easier for him, and what should have taken 10 days took only 1 day to go. So now he has his opportunity. He's been told that this is the last day that you can go ahead and attack Yerushalayim. If you attack today, you'll be successful. If you don't attack today, you won't be successful. This is what his astrologers told him. So what would a normal person do? They would attack. Now there were high walls. So when they got to Yerushalayim, Sanhedrin couldn't see over the walls. So he went to the top of a hill and he put piles of rugs instead of a ladder. He didn't have a ladder. And he stood on top of the pile of rugs so that he could see over the walls into Yerushalayim. He wasn't impressed. It looked very small in his eyes. This is a joke. This is what I'm going to have such a big deal overcoming. I could do this in 5 minutes in my sleep. Amar haloda hikarta Yerushalayim da Allah argushes kol mishirise valakavishta kol minasa. This is the lowly Yerushalayim for which I went ahead and I got all of my troops and I mobilized all of my forces and I conquered all of these countries just so I could get to this point where I can capture this little dinky thing. This is smaller and weaker than any other city that I've ever seen before, that I captured before. He started to shake his head. I like the video, now I can use my hand motions as well. So he used to take his hand, and he took his hand, he started shaking and waving his hand over Yerushalayim, like this is a joke. I'll take care of this in no time. Amre nishtebe Yada Ha'idna. So either the astrologers or his men said, let's go capture it today. Amar Lahu, hard to know what he was thinking. Obviously, it was a Kadosh Baruch Hu controlling everything. Amar Lahu Tamisu. You guys are very tired. We're not going to do it today. Go take a relax. Tomorrow we'll capture it. But not only that, we're not going to have to fight. They're so weak. You know what we're going to do? We're going to go and each one of you is going to take a little piece of the wall. You'll go, as Rashi says, a chaticha shel choma. You'll go and you'll take a piece of the wall. We won't even have to fight. Each one will pull a piece of the wall. The entire wall will fall down, and the Jewish people will be done. Miyad, what happened? He didn't go ahead that day. Miyad vayihi balayla hu vayetze malach Hashem vayach b'machane Ashur me'o shmonim v'chamisha elef vayishkim abok v'nei kulam begar mesim. That night, the malach comes and wipes out 185,000 forces. Had they attacked that day, Sanhedrin would have captured Yerushalayim in the, I don't want to say schus, in the schus, or because of the sin of the Kohanim of Nov. Amar Rav Papa, Hainu Damri Inshi Bazdina Batel Dina. That's what people say, that the Beis Din is Batel Din. As Rashi explains, if you wait long enough and people don't go to Beis Din, they will figure it out themselves. Don't wait too long, i.e. over here, had he waited not even a day, had he gone today, he would have been okay. But he waited, and things figured it out itself. Akash Baruch Hu figured things out, and he wasn't able to capture. Zok the Gemara. What happens next? Fascinating story. Zok the Gemara. V'yishbi benov. Yishbi was a nov. Asher bilidei charpal mishgal keno shoshmeo mishgal nechoshes. V'chagur chadash v'yomer lakos David. So Yishbi in Nov, who was Yishbi the Plishti, so he wanted to kill David. He had this sword, very, very thick and expensive sword. And as we see in a second, Avishai, who was that? Avishai was David's servant. He comes along and he saves David from brother. He's also servant, and he saves him from the attack of Plishti, Yishbi the Plishti. Says the Gemara, "My Yishbi, what does it mean? He's benov." Amar Yudam Rav, wasn't that he was benov? Ish sheba liskenov. Yishbi was coming to take care of David because of the iskenov. What does that mean? Amalek Akash Baruch Hu David. David HaMelech was partly responsible for the death of the Kohanim in Nov. David was responsible, as we'll see, Doeg Adomi was responsible, and Shaul was responsible. So Doeg was killed, and his lost his Olam Haba. Shaul and his sons were killed. What's the punishment going to be for you? Al Yodcha Nerga Ov Nov Your Kohanim. Al Yodcha Nitra Doeg Adomi, because of you, Doeg is not going to get Olam Haba. Al Yodcha, a certain extent to you, Nergu Shaul L'Shoshes Banav. So the question is, what do you want your punishment to be? Good question. Ritzoncha Yichlu Zarecha O Timsar Biyadoyev. David, you have a choice. Do you want to go ahead and have your descendants stay, and you're just going to get killed, you're going to go into the enemy's hands? Or do you want your descendants to get wiped out and you'll get saved? Good question. Amar Lafani, Rebon Shalom Mutav Emsar Biyadoyev V'lo Yichle Zari. I want to go, and my kids will continue. Yom Echad Nafak Liskor Bazai. So one day he went out to hunt. Asa Satan V'amilei Kitavi. So a Satan came and dressed itself up as a deer. Patak Begira V'lo Matya. David shot an arrow, and it didn't reach the deer. Mashrei, so the deer, i.e. the Satan, continued to get David to keep going. He kept running towards Eretz Plishtim, until it got to Eretz Plishtim. Kidechaza Yishbi benov. Yishbi couldn't believe his eyes. Look at this. David HaMelech is coming into enemy territory. Amar hainu hai dekadle legalis achi. This is the one who killed Goliath. Goliath. Kafte kamte osve v'shadye tuse beibidis. He tried to kill him right away. He took David, he bound him up twice, he put him under an olive press and sat on the olive press. Figured he'd be able to crush him to death. There was a Nesa happened to David, and I guess the ground got soft, and as the press pushed down, he started to sink into the ground so that it didn't crush him. Zok the Gemara, this is what it says in the Pasuk, Tarchiv tzadi tachtai, underneath me, below madu karsulai. It wasn't crushed by the press. It was Friday afternoon. Avishai ben Tzuya havakachayif reishe bedalet garbe demaya. So his servant Avishai was taking a shower, not in Eretz Plishtim, obviously, where he lived. Chazina kasme dama. First of all, he saw ksamim like little blood spots. He saw little blood spots somewhere on his shoulders or something. Ikadame asa yona itrif kame. Or a yona, a dove came and started flapping its wings, going crazy in front of him in the shower. Amar Knesset Yisrael Yona Imtila Shenemar Kanfi Yona Nechve Bekesef Shmamina David Malka Yisrael B'Tzara Shari. We know the Jewish people are like a dove, and if it's flapping its wings like this, there must be that something's wrong. I.e., I see that the Jewish people are fine. It must be that David HaMelech's in trouble. So he went to David's house, didn't find him. Amar, so he said Tnan. Now, what's interesting about this Tnan? What's interesting about Tnan? It's a Mishnah. Why is that interesting? He didn't really say Tanan. He was before the Mishnah came around. This is the time of Tanakh. So just interesting to note, Amar Tanan, he said to himself, Tanan, what's that? That's the oral law. That's the tradition. It's just I found that to be interesting. Tanan, this is the oral law. Something that he learned from an oral law, which later became a Mishnah. but he knew it at the time. There was no Mishnayos at the time. Amar Tnan, we know through the oral tradition, through the Torah Shabbat Peh, in Rochman al Suso, Ve'yoshon al Kiso, Ve'mishtanshin Bisharito. You know that you can't ride on the animals of the king, you can't sit in their seat, and you can't use their scepter. So what am I going to do? I want to go save David, but I don't have an animal for myself. B'shasas kanamai, what do you do? Asa shal b'midrash. Of course, when you go into the base medrash on Friday afternoon, what's they doing? People are sitting and learning. The serious people are learning all the time. So what do you ask them? Amrulay, b'shasas kana shapirami. So they answered, it's okay. You're right. You're not allowed to take the king's stuff usually, but b'shasas kana, you're allowed to go ahead and you're allowed to take his animal. Rachmei lapardi v'kamazal. He couldn't find the sus, I guess, so he took David's mule and he mounted the mule. Kaf saleyara. The ground, the eretz, shrunk for him, and he was able to get there right away. But Hadi de Kamaske, as he was coming, while he was riding into the city, Chazi la Arpa ime dahavis navla. So Arpa, the mother of Yishbi the Plishti, was in the middle of sewing. She saw an enemy coming. What did she say? Ki chazise pasakta lepicha. She threw the thread down. Shadasa ilu esvar lemekdale. So she, I guess, pretended that she was throwing the spindle down, but she actually threw it at him, hoping that the spindle would kill him. Amri lay, it didn't kill him. Now she said all of a sudden, she pretended that she dropped it. Alam, young man, Aisili plach, please go ahead and bring me my spindle. Pat geberesh mocha v'kadla. I don't know if we want to go ahead and explain. He took the spindle and he put it through her brain, and she was no longer with us. Karchazia Yishbi Benov. Then Yishbi Benov, now he sees what's the name coming? He sees Avishai coming. Now he's outnumbered 2-1. Amar Hashavu Beitrain V'Kadlani. Now it's 2 against 1. I haven't been able to kill David yet. Now we got to take care of him quickly. Patke le David le'ela v'datz le l'rumche. What did he do? He threw David up in the air and he stuck his sword straight up in the ground, hoping that David would fall right on the sword. Amar Nefel Lav Nikdal. Amar Avishai Shem. So Avishai cried out the name of Hashem. Og me le David ben Shmailar. What has been pretty cool to watch. David was suspended in midair. Okay? The Gemara interjects and says, why didn't David HaMelech cry out the shame? Usually if he's up, going up, coming down on the sword, he should have cried out Shema Yisrael. Ein chavash motzi atzmo mibeis asurin. Fascinating. A person who's in jail cannot get himself out of jail. Rashi explains, different understandings. Rashi explains that he's just not in the mental state to be able to daven for himself. He's so taken aback by being halfway in the air or in midair about to fall on the sword. So Avishai has to come and has to daven for him. Amarle, my bais hacha. So Avishai is having this whole conversation now with David HaMelech while he's in midair. He says, what are you doing here? This is what happened. God said, you want to die, or do you want your kids to die? He said, I'd rather die fall into the hands of the enemy. What's wrong with you? Who cares about your kids? Let your kids go ahead. Your grandson can go sell wax. He can be poor. And you just take care of yourself. It's fascinating to think. David said, you're right. I'll take care of myself. So help me out, though. I need you to daven for me. He helped him. What does it mean he helped him? He davened for him. Amar Avishai Shem, he said the shame seemingly again. David meant flying out of midair. He went flying away from the sword and landed on the ground. So now Yishbi the Plishti starts chasing after them. Kimata Kubi, Amri Kumbe. When they got to Kubi, now it's interesting, Rashi seems to point out, the places were named after the actions happened. They weren't named Kubi yet. They came to a place, it was called Kubi because when they got there, they both said Kumbe. Let's go and let's stand here and wait for Yishbi, and when he comes, we'll attack him. I guess he never came, or just he didn't attack them. Kimata Beitrei, so they kept running to Beitrei. Amri, Betrei Gurion Kalu Alayeh. Now you see why they're called those names. He said, are we going to be able, are 2 little people going to be able to go ahead and kill the Ari? It's interesting. We were saying on the last half, the Ari was Nebuchadnezzar. Now they're calling the Ari Sanhedrin as well. So now they finally realized, originally they were going to fight him. Then when they got to Sanhedrin, they said, maybe we should reconsider this. 2 little guys like us are not going to be able to defeat the Ari. We're not going to be able to defeat Yishbi. Again, fascinating, because David HaMelech, we know, was pretty strong himself. Says the Gemara, Amrilei, so he got to them, he caught up to them, and now they're in trouble. So you know what they said? Said, by the way, I killed your mother. At the time that he went ahead and he heard about his mother, they came, he got weak, and they killed him. I just realized now, when I'm doing it again, that the Gemara later is going to say that his 2 sons killed him. I just realized that now.
It's also interesting. Orpah lived so long, so did Ruth.
Right.
Lived
It's interesting also. I'm just thinking now that I'm doing it the second time. That's why you have to keep doing the Gemara over and again. But we'll see on the next daf that his sons actually killed him. But either way, the Gemara here says that the Kotle, they went ahead and they killed him. They killed some. Oh, sorry. That's talking about Sanhedrin. I'm sorry. That's Sanhedrin later. This is talking about. I'm getting confused between Yishbi the Plishti and Sanhedrin. So Yishbi over here. Okay, good. We answered the kasha. Yishbi was killed by David and by his servant Avishai when they told him that his mother had died. That's when David came back and they said, his friends and his colleagues said, David, I think it's time to hang up your thing. We're not going to hang up the shoes. We're not going to go out to war anymore. I think your time has come to retire. Three people, the land got shortened for them. Eliezer of Avram, Yaakov Avinu, Avisha ben Tzruya. Avisha ben Tzruya Hayda Amran, what we just said. Eliezer Avram, when he got there and he was telling over the story, he said, I came today to the spring. We know that it couldn't have been today. It was a pretty far go. So it must have been that he got there in one day. Yaakov Avinu, and we understand that he actually got to Haran. And therefore what? But on the same day, it sounds like he was also in Hara Moriah. How'd that happen? Says the Gemara, Kimata l'charan Amar, when he got to Haran, he said, Efshar avati al-makom she'ispalu bo avosai v'anilo ispalalti bo. He got to New York and he realized he forgot to stop at Niagara Falls. He got to Haran and he realized that he forgot to stop at Hara Moriah to daven. Boy lemeder, he wanted to go back. Kevan dehira b'dait lemeder. As soon as he wanted to go back, chafsalei ara miyad v'yifka makom. That's what means that he met the place. He got all the way to Haran, had charata that he didn't daven at Hara Moriah, and therefore v'yifka b'makom, Hashem took him straight to Hara Moriah. Davar acher, what else does it mean that he met the place? Davar acher, which could also be not instead of, but in addition to, ein pigia ela tefila. It means tefila, shneimar v'atah titpala b'adam azev al tisa b'adam, rino tefila v'al tifka bi. So it means that not only did he get there right away, he davened there. Vayalin sham kiva shamesh, basar did sali by lemahadar. This is a fascinating Gemara. That after he finished davening, he wanted to go back to Haran. Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu tzaddik zebal lebeis maloni yipater b'lo lina. I have a tzaddik here. He's not going to sleep in my hotel. Miyad ba hashamesh. It wasn't supposed to set. It wasn't time for the sun to set. V'hainu div vayizrach lo hashemesh chilo levad zarcha v'lo k'chol olam kulo zarcha. It says that Kadosh Baruch Hu made the sun go down, whatever time it was, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It became night for the entire world, I guess, for that entire region, so that Yaakov Avinu would stay and sleep over and have his vision. Then he went and he had his vision, and then Vayizrach lo hashemesh. What do you mean lo for him? Because it was the same. He caused the sun to set. He caused the sun then to rise as well. Very interesting. Elam Rav Yitzchak shemesh shabal ba'aviro zarcha ba'aviro. Shemesh that set for him rose for him as well. Okay. Now David chose to be saved, and for his descendants, therefore, to be wiped out. Says the Gemara, Midalan de kol zare de David. Where do we see that David's descendants were wiped out? Dichsiv wasn't the nicest queen in the world. Vatalia ema chaziyahu rasa kimes bina. Vatakam vatabedet kol zera hamamlacha. She got rid of all of the kids. V'ha'ishtar le Yoash. But we know that Yoash ended up living. Hasamnami ishtayer. Yeah, but that was because Evyasar lived as well. Evyasar was part of the Kohanei Nov. He lived. It's fascinating. The Gemara is saying one Kohen from Nov lived. Because of that one Kohen that lived, David was able to have one descendant live. And then I guess from that, all of his other descendants came. Interesting. Had no Kohanim lived from Nov, David would have had no descendants. How that would have worked out with Mashiach, etc., not for now. But what it's saying is that because there was one Kohen left in Nov, David was able to have one descendant, and the rest is history. Amar Vid Amarav.
He had more than.
What?
He had much more than one.
After that. But it sounds like that there was like that originally they would have all been wiped out. Once that one descendant lived, then all of his other descendants. Again, how does that work out? That he's going to have no descendants? So it sounds like he has no descendants up to a certain point. Now he had one descendant up to that point, and then from that point on, he was able to have many more descendants. Zakta Gemara. Very interesting what happened next. So now we're back to the story of Sanhedrin. So Sanhedrin decides to wait till the next day. And again, we're going to see that they were all wiped out, as we said. So we're just going back a second. Before they were all wiped out, let's talk about his 185,000 troops. Amar Vida Amarav. Ba'aleim Sancheirav Rasha Ba'arbaim v'chamish elef. Who were these 185,000 troops? Not just Stam troops. He had 45,000 Ish b'nei Malachim Yoshim b'Krono Shel Zav. 45,000 princes who sat in these golden chariots, and they were so confident in winning all their wars. V'yiman shiglonos v'zonos. You don't usually bring princesses and zonos to the battlefield, but they were so confident that there were 45,000 in gold chariots. No problem. Uvishmonim elef giburim levushe shirion klipa. 80,000 people wearing this special clothing. Uveshishim elef achuzei cherev ratzim lefanim. And 60,000 running ahead. 60 plus 80 plus 45 is 185. V'hashar prashim. But we see that there were other people as well. Then there was the rest of the people, the rest of the cavalry. But they had 185,000 main honchos, it sounded like. V'chein ba'al Avram, that's what happened with Avram when the 4 kings fought against him. They had 185,000, which is a lot of people. V'chein asidin lavoim Gog Magog. The time of Gog Magog, at the end of days, there'll be 185,000 big shots as well in the fighting army. B'masnisa Tana. Furthermore, we learned in the Mishnah, Orech Machaneu Arba Meos Parsi. It was so wide, his Machaneh, there were so many people, as we'll see, there were many more than just 185,000. There were so many people that the length or the width of his army was 400 parsos, which I believe is somewhere around like 1,000 miles or something. Again, Marsha and others say it's not necessarily literal, but we're saying it's huge. Rachav Tzavar Susavar Ba'im Parse. They had so many horses that the width of the horses' necks, just by standing next to each other, were 40 parsaim. Sach machaneu masayim v'shishim ribo alpayim chaser chad. There were 2.6 billion people in his army. Again, not literal, probably, but a lot of people in his army. Baya baya chaser chad, when it says chaser chad ribuye, or chaser chad alpa, or chaser meo, chaser chad teku. Would they have not 2.6 billion? Was it 2.6 billion minus 100,000, minus 1,000, minus 100? Doesn't really matter. Says the Gemara Teku, I don't know. There were a lot of people in his army. Tana, what happened? Now they're crossing over the Yarden to come into Eretz Yisrael, to come into Yerushalayim. Rishonim avru, b'shechi shenemar, as it says, v'chalav b'yudah shatav v'avar tzavar yagia v'yamutus knafav melorochav artzachal Immanuel. So there were basically 3 lines. The first people that went and had to swim across, shatav, they had to swim across the Yarden. And the Susim had to swim across the Yarden as well. Emsaim avru b'koma. By the time the second group of people went of the army, so what happens when people swim across something or they go into water? So the water goes on their clothing, the water goes, so they take water. There are so many people that they basically took half the water out of the Yarden when they went across. So now the Emsaim or Avru B'Koma, they were able to walk across, Nemar Tzavar Yagia, and by the time the middle ones went across, there was no water left. Achronim helu afar b'ragleim v'lo matzu mayim b'nahar lishtras at shehaviu mayim mimakom acher v'shas shnemar anikarti v'shasisi mayim. By the time the third group of soldiers went across, there was no water left in the Yarden because so many people, so many soldiers had crossed, and so many Susim had crossed and taken all the water out of it. So now what happened? The problem is, we said that there's 2.6 billion people, just as an example. But it says, I understand. There were 185,000 people that were killed. What happened to the other 2 billion? Says the Gemara, these were the heads. We're talking about the commanders were the ones who were wiped out. Once the commanders are gone, the regular people, no matter how many there were, they were lost anyway. They were gone. So it says 185,000 that were killed. That was the heads were killed. The commanders that we just spoke about, those are the ones killed by the Malach that night. Amar Vashi Dekanami, how do you know that? Dechsiv, because it says in the pasuk, B'mishmanav razom etachas kado yekad yekod ki kod eish b'shmeinim deisbehu. The fat ones, i.e. the top ones, those are the ones who were killed that night. Amar Avina Dekanami, we have another diuk in the pasuk, Dechsiv, as it says, Vayishlach Hashem Malach vayachet kol gibor chayil v'nagid v'sar b'machanei melech Ashur. Etc., etc. So you see what? Sham Pilu Bacharev, those are the ones who were killed, the main ones. Shmamina, that again, the 185,000 were killed that night. There were a lot more soldiers, but the main hunters were killed that night, and once they were gone, that was it. Now the Gemara says, Ba'mehi kam. How did this Malach who came, as we'll see in a second, it was Gavriel, how did he kill these 185,000 soldiers of Sanhedrin? Rabbi Eliezer Omer biyad hikam. He hit them with the yad. Shenamar, Vayar Yisrael as Yad Agdolah. Because the Jewish people saw the Yad Agdolah. What's the Yad Agdolah? Rashi says it's not Yad Hagdolah, it's Ela Hayad Hagdolah. Hayad Shatidali Nipar Misancherev. Why is it called Hayad? Because when the Jewish people saw the Yad on Kriyas Yamsuf, it was the same Yad that would later take care of the people of Sanhedrin. That's how he hit them, the Malach. Rabbi Shomer be'etzba hikam. He hit them with the finger. Shenemar ve'yomer chatamil power etzba lim he etzba shasida li power mi Sanhedrin. It's the etzba Elokim. The same etzba that took care of Paro took care of Sancheriv's army. Rabbi Zev Spitz, Rabbi Yosef Glili, Omer Amalo Kadosh Baruch Hu Gavriel. Megalcha Netusha, he says, is your sword sharp? According to this, he killed him with a sword. My sword has been ready to go from the 6 days of creation. That's what he says. So he holds that Gavriel came with a sword. He adds, this was the time of the ripening of the fruits, and Gavriel is the malach who's in charge of making all the fruits ripen. It's interesting. It's like Gavriel can't come just to stop to kill somebody. Sounds like you can't just come from heaven to kill somebody. He needs to be doing something else. When you go to ripen the fruits, while you're there anyway, go ahead and take care of Sancheriv's army. Amrav Papa, this is what people say, Hainu Damri Inshi, Agav Orcha, once you're passing by, Lebal de Babach Ishtaba. Once you're passing by, you should go ahead and scare a person who you don't like. Very interesting. Says that if you want to scare somebody, so if you're passing by anyway, you don't like the guy, you can scare him whenever you're passing by. Fine. How else did he kill him? Others say, Bechotman Nashav Bahen Vamesu. He breathed into their nostrils, and they died. He clapped his hands, and he crushed them. Very interesting. Shenamar, as it says, nafsu goyim. Very interesting. So it sounds like we could hear the birds chirping, but we don't understand what they're saying. But he was able, the Gavriel, to open up their ears, and they actually heard, this is like Parak Shira, I think, that they actually heard the Shira that the birds and that the animals were saying. And by hearing that real Shira, you couldn't. Your neshama goes. You die. Very interesting. Now the Gemara says, how many were left? So 185,000 were wiped out. Seemingly these were just the heads. The rest of the army, millions of people are wiped out. Who's left? Says the Gemara, there's machlokas, how many were left? Rav Amar Asara. There were 10 left. Shenamar, as it says in the pasuk, Usha'arech Yaro Mispar Yu of a Nar Yichtevim. The amount left was the amount that a Nar can write. How much can a Nar write? Kama Nar Yachto Lichtov Asara. Rashi says interestingly, what's Asara? A Yud. A Nar who's first learning to write, he can write a little Yud. That's how many people were left. Ushmuel Amar Tisha. Shenamar, because it says what was left. V'nisharbo oleilos kinokev zayis. There were a certain amount of branches, like the branches of a zayis. Shnayim shlosha gargarim birosh amir. Arba chamisha b'sifeh poria num Hashem leYisrael. There were like 4 or 5 left. 2 or 3 olive clusters with like 4 or 5 olives each. So what's 4 or 5? 4 plus 5? What? Only Mendel knows. 9. 4 plus 5 is 9. So there were 9 people left. Rabbi Shua ben Levi Amar Arba Asar Shnei. It's not just 9, it's another 5. Shnei Amar, because in the beginning of the pasuk it says Shnayim Shlosha Arba v'Chamisha. Do the math. What's 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5? What's 9 plus 5? Mendel. 14. Good. Rabbi Yochanan Amar. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Chamisha. There were 5 left, and as Rashi says, he's not learning from the pasuk. He's not learning from the fact that it's Shnayim or Shlosha. He just says Chamisha. Which 5 were left? Sancherev, Ushnei Banav, Nebuchadnezzar, and Nebuzaradan. Unfortunately, the last 2 were left as well. If the last 2 weren't left, we wouldn't have had many problems after that. But Sancherev, his 2 sons, Nebuchadnezzar and Nebuzaradan, who will ultimately destroy the Beis HaMikdash. Nebuzaradan, Gemara. How do they know Nebuzaradan? From an oral tradition. That's how they know. Nebuchadnezzar, Dirse, very interestingly. Nebuchadnezzar, we know that he was left because he says, V'reve di revia demei lebar Elohim. We know that Nebuchadnezzar was around by Hananiah, by Chagai Zechariah Malachi. And he says, "V'ilav dechazia mina havayada." We know that when he throws Chagai Zechariah Malachi into the fire, Nebuchadnezzar says, "I see a 4th person in the fire, an angel." And the Gemara says he wouldn't have known what an angel looks like. It's not like Nebuchadnezzar got angels come to him all the time. The only reason he knew what an angel was because he had seen what the angel looks like at this time that the angel came to wipe out Sancheriv's army. So therefore, it's a proof that he was around then, he was around later. L'maisa, he was saved. Sancheriv v'shnei banav d'chsiv, v'hiu mishtachaveh beis nisroch alav v'adro melech v'shartzar benav hiku b'charev. That later on, this is what I was talking about before, after this incident, he was davening and his 2 sons killed him. So we see that's who was left. Amar Rav Yabo. Rav Yabo says, can we go 5 more minutes? Okay, we have enough for Kasha anyway, if you have to go. Amar Rabbi Abba, I'm going to get to like the 7th line. Rabbi Abba says, Ilmale mikra kasav yaf shalomo. It's a very, very fascinating Gemara. Had not the pasuk suggested the following, I can never say it. Dichsiv, it says in the pasuk, as we'll see in a second, that there was a prophecy of what would happen to Sancherib before he would die. Vayomahu yigalach Adonai betar haschira be'evrei nar b'melech Ashur es harosh v'sar haraglayim v'gam es hazakan titzpeh. The prophecy was that before he died, God would cut off the hair of Sancheriv and the hair of his raglayim and his beard. He had a beard and hair, and God would cut it off with a borrowed razor before he died. How did this happen? Says the Gemara as follows. So God came and dressed up like a gaver sab, an old man to Sancheriv. He said, you're one of 5 people that just survived. 185,000, 2 million people died. What are you going to tell to the parents of all of your allies when they ask you what happened to our sons in war? You came back and all of them died? Says the Gemara, yes, you're right, I have that same fear. So Sancheriv says, what should I do? How am I going to go about this? So God, who was dressed up, says, Zil v'shani nafshach. Go ahead and put on a disguise. You have to change your appearance. How should I change my appearance? Zil aisili mispara ve'agziachana. Go get me scissors, and I'm going to cut off the hair for you. Where should I get scissors? Go get from that house. This and this address. He went to go get the scissors. When he got there, there were 2 malachi asharis for idmulei kegaver. He looked like regular people. They were like grinding up palm things. They were grinding up dates. Said, can I please borrow your scissors? Again, this must have much deeper meaning as well. He says, go ahead and you need to grind up one of them, and then I'll give you the scissors. They gave him the misparim. By the time he got back to God, to the old man, it was dark. So Baruch said, bring me a fire. So he brought him a little fire. Why Sancheriv was blowing the fire to make it bigger, so his beard caught on fire. Seemingly it sounds like he would not have let Kadosh Baruch Hu, quote unquote, cut off his beard had it not caught on fire. Once it caught on fire, so now Kadosh Baruch Hu was able to cut off his head and his beard. Not that he killed him. Again, his sons killed him. He was able to cut off his hair. That's where it says, that was where the pasuk was fulfilled, where the prophecy was fulfilled. The Lamaisa, Kadosh Baruch Hu himself cut off the hair of Sancheriv. Kadosh Baruch Hu cut off the beard of Sancheriv. And then ultimately, Sancheriv's 2 sons cut him off from this world. Shkoyach, have a wonderful day, everyone.